Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host Greg Fearon.
No. This is the Female Confidence Coach podcast with Chrissie Hillier. What are you talking about?
No. This is the Greg Fearon podcast.
I'm pretty sure I'm the Female Confidence Coach. Should we just do it that it's both of our podcasts?
All right, people.
Okay.
Today you have Greg and Chrissie, and this episode is going to go on both of our podcasts.
Yay, sharing is caring.
Exactly. So yeah, long time no see.
Hi, I missed you.
I know we were walking along the beach the last time that we got to see each other properly, right?
I know. How long's it been? 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 7 weeks?
Yeah, about 6 weeks, 7 weeks since that epic 3 days being done.
Wow.
Crazy how time flies.
How time flies. That's a really apt sentence that you just said there as well, because what are we talking about today?
I think we were talking about finding time, especially for busy women who want to get in shape, want to lose weight, but always talk about, I don't have time.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. It is going to be fun. Love it. Love it.
It'd be interesting to be coming from a man's perspective, because obviously women will go, well, you're a man, you don't understand our plight, but I've got a few things for that one. So
I love it.
Let's go. Let's
go. It's really interesting because I've been doing a 5-day free kickstart challenge this week, and today's topic was you time.
Okay.
So I did a little 15-minute first thing in the morning, like a few breathing exercises, everyone got their journals and set some intentions, and just like closed their eyes and focused on their breathing for like a minute. Really short, sharp. And so many people have kind of messaged me since saying, I never do stuff like this. I never find time for me.
Why do you think that is? What is it about that line? I never have time for me. Where does that come from?
So from my own personal experience, and I'm also going to admit, I don't always have this cracked 100%. I don't. And you know that because I've told you that. But I think it's because we constantly think everyone else and everything else is more important than we are.
So where does that come from?
Well, that must come from our belief system.
You see, a little while ago, about a year ago, I actually had a client in tears. Yep. I make my clients cry. Because we were talking and I was saying that, a lot of the stuff that she was telling me was actually came from her mum. This perception. And I think there was a different era, like where my mum was able to be at home most of the day, she gets stuff done. The modern woman doesn't have that luxury because most of the time they're at work 9 till 6, 5, 7, whatever it is, and then we're trying to cram in all this other stuff that would have been done 9 to 5 or 9 till 3 before the kids got home, but now you're trying to cram it into, I don't know, 3 hours before your Netflix binge.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Yeah, and that, I think that from my point of view, that leads into this belief system of what you've seen when you were younger.
Yeah.
You see your mum flying around doing this, that, and the other. But if I truly ask the question to myself, my mum worked differently to what I work now.
Yeah.
I've only got one child and my mum had me and my brother. Obviously, I was the angel.
What happened to you?
I don't know. But my mum didn't always work full time. So my view of that time is skewed because from the age of 4.5, I was at school anyway. I didn't see what my mum did between 9:15 and 3:00. I didn't see. Um, so I think there's a lot about what we see and not reconciling that life was different,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was, I think we both look after women of a similar age, but let's say 30 to 55, 60 years ago. um not reconciling that life has moved on and life is different.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many other bits to it as well. The stories we tell ourselves, the excuses we make, the lack of value that we put on our own time, our own health, our own mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's even like a lack of understanding of how important it is to just stop sometimes and just take a minute or 5 or 10, you know.
You kind of just made me think of something actually, where oftentimes when started to work with ladies, when I'm looking at the day, they're like, "Oh, I've got to clean up. There's this incessant need to everything to be cleaned, like Dettoled and bleached down to infinite, because there's this perception that my house needs to look like MTV Cribs every night before I go to bed, or a woman's work isn't done."
Mm. Mm.
But I guess from a man's point of view, like, it's going to sound very sexist, and women listening to this are going to be like, "But you're just a man." I'm like, "Well, yeah." And I think men are, because we're so logical often, we're like, "Well, that's a weekend job. We'll leave it." Quite often I find the women struggle with leaving things to another
Mm-hmm.
dedicated time to do it. Rather, it has to be done. I
Mm-hmm.
can't go to sleep with a plate in the sink. Like,
Mm.
what is that?
So you say MTV Cribs, I say Mrs. Hinch. And I think, you know, I think she's got a lot to answer for. Don't get me wrong. I don't have anything against the woman. I think she's done a brilliant job of turning her obsession for cleaning into a brand and a business.
Oh, she's smashed.
Like, absolutely smashing it. However, she's also really good at showing you the opposite side of it. She does show you that her house isn't always clean and tidy and sparkling. And I feel like we've taken this, we take all of these things and magazines and adverts and all the things that influence us, and we put this expectation on ourselves, like you said, that life has to be sparkly, clean 100% of the time, ridiculous. And it's not achievable. Like, Mrs. Hinch's job is cleaning her house. At the moment she's on maternity leave, but her job, she doesn't have another job. It's cleaning her house and putting 100 stories on Instagram a day. If you had all day to clean your house and sell cleaning products, your house would be clean all the time. But the reality of it is, the people you and I work with have jobs.
Yeah, careers.
Yeah, careers, jobs. I work with a couple of people who are stay-at-home mums. That's a job in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's I think we're looking at things through this lens that is not reality.
Yeah.
Like, take the glasses off, ladies.
It's like, it's always funny, right? Women are always like, "Oh, I don't like all that fantasy sci-fi stuff," but they're trying to live their life through this Instagram science fiction fantasy land that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
and is not
Yeah.
possible. So it's actually interesting. There's something you said earlier, and it just made me think of a post that I saw someone put up yesterday, or a couple of days ago. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm really tired. I haven't been sleeping properly. I'm really tired. But I went to the gym this morning. I'm going to clean this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this." And my first comment was, "Don't go to the gym." stay at home and chill. Go for a walk,
Hmm.
do some yoga, whatever you want to do. Just chill out.
Yeah.
But the comments below it were, "Oh well, a mum's work isn't done," and it was almost like she was saying, "Well, I'm not feeling great, but I'm gonna plow on regardless."
Mm.
What is that?
Why?
Like
Yeah. Why?
men go to sleep, men get a bit of a sniffle. We're like, "Oh, we're in bed. Can't take
Yeah.
it."
Yeah.
I think it's a bit smarter.
Well, like, what? No one's going to give you a medal. Who's going to notice? Honestly, who's going to notice whether the house is sparklingly clean? Because let's be honest, do any of you listening live in a pigsty? No, of course you don't. But do the floors need to be mopped every day? No, of course not. Will someone notice if the floor isn't mopped today when it was last mopped yesterday? No, no. Your husband barely recognizes when you have your hair done, love. Don't worry about the floors.
I'll speak for all men in attendance. Men, you should notice when your lady gets her hair did.
I
Yeah.
notice you've said nothing about my hair.
Didn't I say you look really good this morning?
He did, thank you.
Right,
You
exactly.
did.
Models
I
in that.
take it back. I take it back.
Yeah, I get you.
But it is true. Why do we put so much pressure on ourselves? And I don't know that I have the answer. I All I know is that if you take away a bit of that pressure, it does make life so much easier.
And it also means that you can actually get the body and the health that you say you've wanted for a long time together. Because, like, try and get in shape is a different way of living. Okay, you hear
Mhm.
it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. They actually mean the same thing, but that's a whole nother discussion, people.
Mhm.
Um, it's not a diet, but it's a lifestyle, all those corny things. But it's true, right? You have to live and eat in a certain way to have a certain body look
Yep.
you want. So often women will come up and be like, "Oh, just Greg, I just haven't got time to put me first." And that's about the stories and putting the value on your own health. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is that we're not taught to value feeling good, being in shape, fitting in your clothes. You have to come second, third, fourth, fifth down the rung.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah.
a
Or if you do feel good about yourself, healthy, full of energy, you feel like you have to explain it
oh, it's interesting.
or justify it.
Yes, you have to justify. Oh, why are you having a salad? Because that's a better choice for me than having the breadsticks.
Mm.
That's it. Simple. End of. Um, but I think there's this fear sometimes for ladies of being not being in the menopause circle. And what I mean by this is the group where everyone moans about losing weight, not being in shape, and they can't. But if you're the lady in that group who actually does make a change, it's almost like a fear of being ostracized by the gang if you start to look good. And then what you do is when your friends start going, "Oh, look at you," all the rest of it, you then regress back and be like, "Oh, I haven't got time for looking after myself." But that's
Yeah.
fear of not being in the tribe, not
Yeah.
anything else.
So what you've just said, one of my clients that I'm working with, who is awesome, like she is absolutely smashing it. And she was so honest with me on about week 8. She said, "I'm worried about what my friends are going to think. I'm worried that they're going to, you know, see that I'm making changes and that I'm choosing differently. And maybe when we go out for a drink, I'll only have one drink, whereas normally I would have had a whole bottle of wine, and that they'll start, you know, pushing me out, or that they won't feel as connected to me." And that was such an interesting conversation, because you have to question yourself in that instance. Why are my friends friends with me? Are my friends friends with me because once a month we go to the pub and I drink a bottle of wine? Because they're all mums, all her friends, they're all mums. They're not at the pub 3 times a week. Are they friends with me because I drink a bottle of wine? Are they friends with me because, and I'm using the behaviors that she stepped away from, because I sit at home until midnight, sometimes later, eating bars of chocolate, drinking wine and watching Netflix? No, because they're not with me when I do that. Are they friends with me because, I choose junk food for lunch? No, that's not why they're friends with you. And actually, the test of a true friendship is, are they happy? Are they happy that you found this, in her words, this new meaning to life, this new purpose? Are they happy for you? Yes. Well, then that should be enough. And if they're not happy for you, are they good enough friends?
If I had a nail and a hammer,
Yeah.
that's about your circle of, yeah, it's about your circle of influence. Like we say, we're the average of the 5 people we hang around with. That just puts a nail on the head right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But as humans, we like to belong. We're pack animals. We like to belong. We like a sense of community. So I can understand why you'd be afraid if you've already made the changes. But also I can understand why it stops you from making the changes,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
they're all hanging on to each other like, no, let's be in this unhealthy bubble together.
And say that I can't lose weight because it's the wine, it's the bread, or whatever
Yeah.
belief we want to hold on to. But ladies, if you're listening to this and you're worried about what your friends are going to say, listen. If you have to leave a group of people behind, and I think we've both done this in our lives over many different, in different situations. But we're both still here. We're both alive. I've got all my fingers still. Nothing's going to happen.
I've got all my toes just counted.
Sure.
Yeah. You're just meant to have 4 on each foot, right? No? Okay.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
I'm
we might
missing a couple.
go see one
We'll
about
see.
it. But okay, so here's a question for you, because this is a classic. Oh, but I have to do all this stuff for the kids.
Love this one. We love this one. Okay. So I think you have to break this one down a little bit, right? So are your kids able to do anything for themselves? I.e., are they still like babies or toddlers? If yes, okay, they are going to be a bit more reliant on you. However, do you have to do this stuff exactly the way that you're doing it, all the times that you do it, and on your own? Okay, I recognize that we might have some single parents listening to us, and I want to be really inclusive, but do you have to do all of those things exactly the way you do it, i.e., the long way, the regularity that you do it, and can you never ask for help if they're really young?
I'm gonna bring some West Indian parenting to this situation.
Do it.
So I often hear about women going to hide in the toilet and stuff, or they're on the loo and then there's kids in there or trying to have a bath. And like, ladies, you talk about barriers. That is the perfect time to create barriers and show kids that they need to also have their own barriers. So what we teaching them by always indulging them, like if your kid's having a meltdown because you're having a poo, there's something not quite right with that picture. Yeah, like that just should not be happening. Like I wouldn't even if I knew my mum had gone to the bathroom as I grew up, I'd be quiet as a church mouse. I'd go and find a book to read. I'd go and find a drawing to do. I'd go and do something.
Yeah.
and one of the questions Mum always used to ask me is, "Are you bored? Is there nothing? Is there nothing for you to do?" So it was the pressure. She wasn't. The pressure wasn't on her to entertain me. The
Yeah.
pressure was for me as a child to use my imagination and go and play with the millions of toys that I've got. To go and play in the garden and build a mud castle or kill some
Yeah.
ants or whatever you did as a kid. But my parents weren't my source of education, of entertainment, shall I say? And ladies, I think we should need to create some barriers in this shizzle.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's going to come a time where they close the toilet door on you.
Oh, happily. Oh, they'll close their bedroom door and be like, "Mum, get out. Like, I'm watching something I shouldn't be watching. Get out."
Yeah. Just because we change their nappies doesn't mean they need to be in the toilet when we go for a poo.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
definitely a thing. And I think there is a little bit of an enablement because you feel like if you don't give all your children all of your attention, you're being a bad mum. But actually, I actually think it's the opposite. By giving them some space, giving them some freedom to explore and learn and do stuff on their own, you're helping them develop. If they
Yeah.
need you, they'll call you.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be fawning over them all the time. And I'm gonna just say this is why I think we have a snowflake generation coming up because kids don't do anything for themselves. There you go.
I love the concept of barriers.
Mm.
I love that because, do you know what? I've never thought of it like that. I've never thought of it like that. And I think going back to something you said, it's about communication. And that's communication with the other half,
Yep.
particularly if the kids aren't old enough to understand that you need a bit of you time. But even at baby stage, it's about communication. My friend Zoe is going to love it that I've mentioned her name on 2 podcasts now, but my friend Zoe, when she puts her little boy down to sleep, and for her that was, it was a big battle getting him to sleep, but she uses specific language. Okay, it's nap time now, sleep well, and puts him in his cot awake so that he settles himself. And I think there's something to be said from a young age saying to a child, right, Mummy's going to the toilet now. I'll be back in a minute.
Mm.
You sit there and play with this. I'll be back in a minute.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure that there is more that you don't want them touching in a toilet than you don't want them touching in the living room if your house is childproof.
Yeah, and just like your whole digestive thing, like going to the toilet should be like a relaxed thing. And if
Yeah.
you're there, like and your kids, no, just no.
No. But so communicating with the children, and then if we take this to a bigger example than going to the toilet, one of the things that I talk to my ladies about is just find like half an hour or an hour in the week that is completely you. So my routine is a Sunday evening bath, and I will take a book or I'll take the iPad, and that's my Netflix time. I don't do Netflix during the week. That's my Netflix time. And that's about communication. That's telling Tom and telling Charlie, that's where I'm going to be. If the house is burning down, come and get me. If not, leave me alone because I need that time. And actually now to the point of where they say on a Sunday evening, isn't it bath time? Like, hadn't you better be going upstairs? And it's about communication. But I think so often women think that everything has to be them, so that's doing all the doing. So God forbid I ask my other half if I can have an hour of peace and quiet to take a bath, because who's going to keep an eye on the kids? Or if if you don't have kids, God forbid I take an hour and don't do something that doesn't need doing in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, right? Ladies will complain that their men don't do stuff in the house. But if you talk to us, we're cool. Often men play dumb because we know that, oh, it's all right. She moans at me for a little bit, and then yeah, she'll just do it anyway. And this is the big problem, is this mindset of doing everything. I have to do everything. So I'm going to challenge the ladies to say as well, like, your kids have chores.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are they going to
Brilliant one.
learn life skills if they don't know how to use a Hoover?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I share another story?
Oh, share away.
It's not about me. I had another conversation with one of my clients on Saturday, again, smashing it. And she joined the call a bit flustered, and I could see it in her face. And I was like, what's going on? And she said, well, the boys were late leaving for golf. And I don't really understand why, but I ended up rushing around getting them ready so that they wouldn't miss the golf lesson. And we broke it down, and I was like, okay, how old is your son? 10. How old is your partner? 40 something. Okay. Are both of them able to get themselves dressed, breakfasted, get the golf clubs ready, sorted out, and leave on time? Yes. So why are you doing it then? Does your son get himself ready for school Monday to Friday? Yes, he gets himself up, he gets himself dressed, and he gets his own breakfast. And I know he does that because he's a couple of days younger than my son. And so we often talk about like what they do for themselves. Okay, so what's different about a Saturday? Why can he not get himself dressed and breakfasted and washed on a Saturday? I don't know, she said. I don't know why.
Is this like, and obviously maybe I'm a man, is this mothering instinct to want to fix everything? But sometimes this stuff can't be fixed. Like,
Yeah.
or else the only way to fix it is to let people fix it.
Yeah. Or let them make the mistake so that they understand the consequences. Because I gave her the example that we live 25 minutes away from Charlie's school. His school is not, a 5-minute drive away. And so to get him to school and get back again is a 50-minute round trip. And he takes clarinet lessons on a Friday, and the amount of times he used to forget his clarinet. And when Tom was taking him to school, Tom would just be like, no, sorry, I'm not going back to get your clarinet. I've got to go to work. And then the one time I was taking him to school, he had an assembly where he was meant to be playing the clarinet, and he forgot the clarinet. And so I did the drop him at school, drove back home, got the clarinet, went back to school, and went back home. So what should have taken me 50 minutes took me an hour and a half.
Wow.
He didn't play the clarinet in the assembly.
Oh dear. No comment.
So that was it. That was my learning. My learning was, you know what? No. I think at the time he was 9, and I said to him, you're 9, you are responsible for your PE kit, for your after school club kits, and for your clarinet. You know what days you're doing these things. You get your uniform out, you get yourself showered, you get yourself dressed. Most days you do your own breakfast. Now you're responsible for these things as well.
Yep. I do feel we've created this culture where kids don't do anything and then they demand money for it. Like,
Yeah.
you got a roof over your head and the plate of food you get every night, like, that's your reward. Like,
Yeah.
not rewarding kids for doing something that they need to learn how to do. You're teaching them a life skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my
Absolutely. Do you know what? I think that some mums listening to this are going to think we're being harsh and overly logical about it. But, I think just taking it back to when your kids leave home for uni or leave home, to go and be independent, when they get together with someone and move in with someone, do you want them to be the type of child that can manage on their own, it doesn't matter whether they're male or female, by the way, this is not about what sex your children are. Do you want them to be able to clean the house themselves, to feed themselves, to know how to wash their clothes, to know how to leave the house in the morning looking presentable and go and do a good job at work?
Mhm.
Or do you want them to move in with housemates or a partner, and for that, those housemates or a partner to feel like they have to also be that child's mother?
Amen. I think actually you hit a very good point that I guess with this, a lot of the ladies that I'm working with, and it, they get to that point where it's like, oh my God, I'm no longer a woman, a mother, because my child has grown up now, and I don't know what to do
Mm,
with myself. I'm
yeah,
like, what do I do? I need something to mother or something to do. But that's where the opportunity is to change and actually do all those things you said you wanted to do. That's the opportunity right there,
yeah,
right there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But also, why wait?
right. I'm gonna say something controversial.
Go on.
You said, why wait? Why do women struggle to make changes in their life when it comes to their fitness, health, nutrition? I'm gonna say a big thing.
Go on.
Not committing to it. Because ultimately, let's be honest, people commit to EastEnders, Coronation Street, Hollyoaks, even. How dare you, people? Um, and their favorite Netflix.
Love Island.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, and I'm going to use the Euros as a very good example, right? I saw people talking about, like, posting on Facebook and all the rest of it, talking about football like never in my life. That is great for the nation, and I won't talk about the other stuff that comes with it. However,
Right.
that energy and that commitment to the England football team, if we put that energy into ourselves,
Imagine what could happen.
oh my God, imagine, like, if you committed to getting up every day and going for a walk, or you did that 20-minute training session,
Yeah. Or
or
20 minutes of planning and prepping your food for the day.
imagine what would happen. The
Also,
people,
I just want to do a side note. Prepping your food does not mean you have to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice out of a Tupperware every day,
oh
people.
no,
Just saying.
yeah, let's not go there. But I think
Because otherwise, we'll go down the unseasoned chicken route and Greg will lose his mind.
I won't lose my mind. I'm feeling calm today. I'm feeling good.
Okay, cool.
Like, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, imagine the commitment you could make. I think this is actually, tell me if I'm taking it off on a tangent you didn't want to go on, but um I think women think that changing their lives and becoming healthier, happier, more confident versions of themselves is going to take hours and hours a day. And I think that he's shaking his head. And I think that's one of the reasons why they don't commit to it. And I'm just bringing it back to, I don't have time, because they think it's going to take hours and hours.
And I think the don't have time is also a pseudo name for I'm scared I'm gonna fail
Mm,
because it's going
mm-hmm.
to be too difficult. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we
Yeah,
coach people, so we can actually make it simpler, and it doesn't have to be super complex. So you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen making gourmet meals like you're like some Shelly down the road influencer. You can actually eat the food you eat every day and learn
yeah,
how to adjust it. So actually, there's no new time needed.
no, no. And actually, you can also learn how to save time.
Oh, oh yeah, all that time you spend faffing going around the shops. If you do a little prep beforehand and say what we're actually going to make for the week, then just go down the ingredient aisle. You'll
Mm-hmm.
save time on faffing around, going, "Oh, should we try this next week?" In the
Yeah,
middle of Sainsbury's.
yeah,
Um, that's actually nonsensical.
yeah. I agree. I I completely agree. I think fear of failure, fear of things being too hard, and putting those barriers up.
Mhm.
Um, but I also think we're often busy being busy, being busy, being busy, being busy.
Oh, I've got so much things on my to-do list. That list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And actually, if you break it down and think about, you know, what is it that you really need to do, and then just do it. That's the other thing. Have you read Hyperfocus yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so
Busy.
did you hear my stomach then? My stomach's growling. I'm so hungry.
I wish I knew what hunger was at the minute.
Oh, sorry. So Hyperfocus, I can't remember who it's by,
Uh,
but
Chris Bailey.
Chris Bailey, that's it. So I think that there's a really interesting thing that happens. So, oh, Greg, I just don't have time. I don't have time for me because I'm just too busy. There's too many things on my to-do list. Okay, what's on your list? So they list them off. Yeah. Yeah, and I just don't have time. Okay, so we could do a bit of a time audit. Let's see, how much time are you spending doing this, and how much time are you spending doing that? How much time are you on social media? Oh, I hardly ever go on social media. Oh, it's funny because your light's always green when I'm looking on it. How much time do you spend watching Netflix? Oh, no, I don't. Well, not very often. Oh, really? But have you not just done that box set in 5 days? Do we still call them a box set, Greg?
I think so.
Okay. You know, I'm so busy, and I need to do all these things because no one else will do them. Okay, but have you asked? Have you asked someone else to do them?
Oh, but no one does it like I do.
Yeah,
But how can they do it if they don't know how to do it and don't learn to do it because you did it perfect the first time?
because you don't let them.
Oh yeah, because I've got to stay busy. Got to stay busy.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm busy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny, right? Because same client I was talking about earlier, she asked for help from her partner and her son the other week, and her partner made her son's lunchbox, and she looked in it and checked it, and she was like, okay, he didn't make it how I would have made it, but he made it. And I said, okay, well, what did he do differently? He cut the sandwiches into rectangles instead of triangles. Now, I agree there's a rule that states, or a law that states, a sandwich tastes better cut into a triangle. I don't know why. I don't know why, but does it matter? Really? And she agreed it didn't matter. She agreed. And she was just really thankful that he'd done it. But it comes back to this point of, if we don't ask, how do you know we need help?
Can I just tell back a little bit, just a little bit of
Yeah.
your journey there? Social media usage is frighteningly awful. So I had a client I spoke to the other day, and she was doing that. I haven't got time, so I said, "Great, cool, I get it. We were really busy, She's a professional. She's a project manager. She's doing all this stuff. Great. Get your phone out. Okay, go into general. Yep, go to settings. Cool. Tell me about your screen time. What is it?" And she read it out, and it was like 8 hours, 59 minutes. I was like, so don't give me the multitasking thing. That says your screen has been on for 8 hours. Now, it obviously some of that time would have been where it would have just been open and on, and you're not actually doing anything. So even if we take off an hour for that, that's 7 hours of time of you on the screen looking at stuff. That's a whole day's work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the penny just dropped.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
2 days later, she's gone, Greg, I've dropped it by half. I'm so much more productive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we tell ourselves these little lies and these little stories. And actually, for most people, there's probably one to three things that you need to complete each day to make each day a success. Other than that, you're just faffing and just making a list to look busy because everyone's on the internet boasting about how much they're hustling and working hard.
Oh,
Stop
yeah.
working hard. Just stop being busy for no reason.
Yeah.
It's not helping you. It's
Yeah.
keeping you stuck.
Yeah. I try and I try and help my clients with that. What are the 3 things for today? And
Yeah,
you know what, it doesn't even 3 is quite a lot. What's the one big thing for today?
I have the same thing. What's the one thing you need to accomplish this week? Just
Yeah.
one. And I think often people are, but Greg, I need to have this, this, and this, and this, and this. I'm like, no, that's distraction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Distraction. So we should leave people with some practical stuff, like practical
Yeah.
lists. So
Yeah.
give you like your top 3 tips to make your to get rid of the I don't have time monster,
Yes. Okay.
and then I'll do my thing.
Real practical. Should we do like I do one, then you do one?
Let's do that.
Okay. So my first one would be, yeah, I think it's got to be screen time. Like, be aware of your screen time. Every single phone, doesn't matter whether it's an iPhone or an Android, will tell you how much screen time you've had.
Mm-hmm.
So be conscious of that screen time.
Ace one. Okay, cool. My one. Look at your to-do list and actually put allocated time of when you're going to do those things, and do not make that time longer than 50 minutes. And that way, you don't expand your task to fill the time.
Because we're good at doing that.
Yeah, so that's number 2 for me.
Good. Okay. My next one, so number 2 would be use, do, delegate, or ditch.
Woo!
So, you know, you've got this mental list of things, or maybe it's a physical list of things, but actually really question, do you need to do it? Can someone else do it so you delegate it, or does it really not need to be done? So ditch it.
Yep. I like it. All right, number 4 from me. Ask your children, is it an emergency? If the answer is no, they can wait. Sometimes.
Brilliant.
Is that
Love it.
like get them to do stuff on their own?
Yeah.
Nothing will happen to them. In fact, it'll probably make them better people.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last one from me is communicate. So communicate with the kids, communicate with the other half or the extended family if they're over reliant on you, but most of all, communicate with yourself. So make a commitment of the one big thing that you're going to do today, or communicate with the other half that you need help, or with the kids that you need 10 minutes of peace and quiet. Just communicate.
Awesome. Here's my final one. Get a coach who ain't going to BS you into telling you the BS that you carry around.
Absolutely.
Like, get an outside perspective on what you're doing and why you're doing it, because you can get easily trapped in your narrative of I'm busy, don't have time, blah, blah, blah. But when someone looks at it from a different angle, you can see clearly now the rain is done.
Beautiful, Greg. Beautiful.
I used to be in the choir back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah. Then puberty happened.
Well, this has been awesome. Thanks for listening to the Greg Fearon podcast.
And the Confidence with Chrissie podcast too.
No. The Female Confidence Coach podcast.
I'm sorry.
We're not doing this again if you get it wrong.
Now, it's been awesome to have like a double like podcast together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We should do this again sometime soon.
We should.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Thanks for listening, people. Don't forget to leave a review,
Subscribe.
rate,
Share.
and like.
And do the things we told you to do in the recommendation.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's the biggest thing. Like,
Yeah.
you just do the stuff we talked about. So
Yeah.
Thank you very much, people.
Cheers.
Talk soon.
Bye.
See you on the other side.